Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as my friends over at yarnspirations.com. Today we're going to do the Petal Pops crochet blanket. I accidentally screwed up the way that I did this, and I'm going to give you two options for being able to do the Petal Pops. One has 3D, which the pattern has, and the other one is more flat. Today you're going to get a choice. So today we're working on the Petal Pops Afghan. I misread the instructions when I was going to do this one here, and here is the real sample of what you see here. You can see that it has a three-dimensional lift from it, and it gives you a really beautiful pop. So with the right colors, it can be totally amazing. So when I did it for the first time, I had this. Look at that. See, so it's more flat based, not like the three-dimensional. So what I did accidentally is that I did a cluster instead of a popcorn, and so if you're looking for this kind of concept, you can make sure that you follow one or the other, so you can have a different option. You know what's kind of neat about it too, when I think about it, is that you could actually mix up your squares for this Petal Pop Afghan to be somewhat flat, some 3D, and change your colors and make it all look pretty cool. But today I'm going to show you how to do the popcorn version, but I am going to just quickly run through the cluster if you would like to do that one as well, and then you have an option with two different ideas here within the same tutorial. So without further ado, you're going to need your Caron 1 pound yarn, a 5mm size H crochet hook in order to play, and of course if you substitute your yarn, just use a different size of yarn to do that. So the border here, I'm not going to cover how to do the border in this one as well. It's just a simple double crochet going around, so you attach them together by sewing the squares together, and then just go 5 or 6 revolutions of doing double crochet around the edge, and it's just a very simple concept. In order to do that, we have tutorials on how to crochet around a border with double crochet as well if you need extra help for doing that kind of thing. So without further ado, let's get started. So on page number 2, you're going to see a diagram to be able to follow. If you like diagrams, this is the way to go. And this is where I misunderstood the instructions, because I looked at it real quick and I said, oh, that's a cluster. And then when I realized it was turning out flat, I realized, hey, it's a beginning popcorn and a popcorn. So I was kind of misreading my own instructions. This is the pattern by Yarn Inspirations. So what's going to happen in here is that we're just going to get you started. We'll do your popcorn rounds, and then there's just 3 more rounds after that. So you can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all it is. And you'll see that it works out quite nicely. Now you'll notice here the granny square difference is that there's 4 double crochets in a space. It's usually always 3, so there's 4, and that's what really kind of makes this one different, and you need to keep that balance in order to keep your motif sitting flat. So now let's really start our project. Okay, so let's begin, and I'm going to create a slip knot, and I want to chain a total of 6. So put that onto the hook, chain 6. So just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And when I have that done, I'm just going to put it into the first chain, yarning over, pulling through and through, and there is the middle ring of your motif. Let's begin round number 1. So let's begin round number 1. We're going to do a total of chaining of 5. So the first 4 is considered a treble, and the 5th one is considered a space. So let's just do 5. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's your treble, and 5 is your chain 1 space, and it'll make sense in just a bit. And I want you to put this straggler around the ring as if it's part of the ring, and I want you to treble into this ring. So wrap that hook twice, and going into the center of the ring, going through, pull through, and now you'll have 4 loops left on your hook. Pull through 2 and 2 and 2. Okay, so let's do this again. So we're going to chain 1. So that's what's going to separate these trebles. So we did chain 4 if you remember it, and the 5th one is a chain 1. So every time you do a treble, just chain 1 after. So wrap twice and into the center, pull through 2 and 2 and 2, and then chain 1 and then do it again. So wrap twice in the center of the ring. So with the chaining of 5 that you started with, which 4 of them is a treble, you're going to have a total of 16 of those treble posts going all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and you want to keep doing this until you get 16 of those going all the way around. Just make sure that you chain 1 in between each of the trebles, and I never chained 1 in that last one, so let me do that again. So just chaining 1, and I can catch myself back up just like that. So there should be a nice equal space between them. So let's continue along and just keep on going around and get your 16 posts done. So I'm back, and now I have my 16 posts done, so I can count those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And when I'm finished that last treble, just chain 1 first, and then just count the 4th chain up. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then that'll keep that space equal between them all as you're going all the way around. So I'm gonna finish my color here. So how I'm doing that is just I'm trimming my yarn, and I'm just gonna pull that yarn through the final loop here and lock that into position, and then just use my hook and just bury it in and out of the stitch work here. You can also use a darning needle if you prefer, if you want absolute guarantee that it will never fall out, but I'm pretty confident with my skills. So I always kind of just make sure that the loose end is always hanging out to the back side, just in case I need to use a darning needle later. So what we're going to do is just get rid of the center one that was loose. Okay, so we buried that as we went, and then I'm going to get rid of this color here, and then I'm gonna start my petal pops, and I'm gonna show you the cluster format as well as the popcorn the way it should be in the pattern. So we're going to begin, and I'm just gonna bring up this color, feeling very Christmassy at this moment, so we're just gonna put it onto the hook. So what I want you to do is go into any chain 1 space. Okay, so it's the space between the trebles, and just going in, and I want you to do a total of a slip stitch, sorry, so slip it so it's attached, and then I want you to chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to show you how I misdid it first. Okay, so this was a cluster. So how I missed it at the first time is that I wrapped the hook, and I went right into the same space and pulled through 2 and hold it, and then I wrapped it again. I went into the same space, pull through, I pulled through 2 and hold it, and then I wrapped again, same space, pulled through 2 and hold it. And so I ended up with 4 loops on my hook. So then I just yarned over, pulled through all of those things, and then I just did a chain of 2. So 1 and 2, and then I moved on. So this is the cluster way of doing it. This is not the way the pattern's showing it. So wrap the hook into the next space, pull through 2 and hold. And you do that a total of 4 times. So if you want the flat look, this is how you do it. So this time, because you've already started with the 1 loop here that's part of this original, there should be a total of 5 loops. Pull through all 5 and then chain 2. And I'm gonna show it one more time, and then I'm gonna pull out and show you how it's done, really done in the pattern. So going to the next chain 1 space, wrap, pull through 2, okay, and then so I get my 5 loops on the hook, and then I pull through all and then chain 2 again. So you keep doing that into each of the chain 1 spaces all the way around, and then you'll end up with 16 of these going all the way. And this is the flat look, so this is how it would appear then as being flat. But what I want to do is that I want to have a 3-dimensional look, so I'm gonna show you how to do that next. So I'm gonna pull out, and then I'll restart showing you how to do it like it shows in the pattern. So let's restart now of how it shows in the pattern. I'm gonna create a slip knot once again, and again going into a chain 1 space in between the posts, and you're just gonna go right in and then just yarning over and pull through as a slip stitch. Okay, and now you're going to chain 3. So we knew how to do that before. So now we have to put in 3 more double crochets. So just finish the double crochets as you know them. Okay, so each one of the petal pops has a total of 4 double crochets. So with the chaining of 3, that counts as a double crochet. So you end up with 4. Once you have that done, you are going to take this and just pinch it with your thumb and your finger, and let the loop just hang out, take out your hook. Going into the very first one, the chain 3, you're going to grab the loop and pull that through. And what that does is it locks it, and it makes the stitch work pop out towards you, and then chain 2. So let's show you this again. So wrapping the hook, I want you to double crochet 4 times into the next chain 1 space. Okay, so you do all 4 at the same time. And then once you get that 4th one done, you pinch it, and you're only pinching it so it doesn't fall out. Take out your hook, going into the first of the 4 double crochets, put the loop back on the hook and pull it through, and then chain 2. And then do the next one. So let's do it again. So 4 more in a row. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pinch, pull out, going into the first one, pull through, chain 2. So please do that all the way around. I'll meet you at the end of this round and then I'll show you what to do from that point. So I'm just finishing up my final pop here. This is the popcorn, and then after I get that last one done, don't forget to chain 2 before joining it to the top of the very first popcorn that you did, just like that. So if you were doing the cluster, the same thing, you just got to make sure you chain your 2 and then attach it to the first cluster that you'd done. So now I'm going to get rid of this yarn now, and I'm going to bring on a different color yarn. Again, feeling kind of Christmassy, I'm going to bring on some white or some off-white, kind of make it feel like a poinsettia in some way. I know it doesn't look like one, but creativity is subjective to your own personal wishes, right? So just weaving this in once again, and then I'm going to bring back another color, and you need a total of 30 of these squares to be able to make this particular project if you wish. But of course, if you want to change the size, then you just have to have more or less squares. So without further ado, let's move on to the next 3 rounds. So now back on the chart, and what I have is that I have my 16 popcorns all the way around, and now I'm going to convert the circle that you see here into a square. So what we're going to have to pay attention to is that when we go to start, we're going to start on forming the square, the corner first. So you're going to put in your 4 double crochets. Remember that the chain 3 counts as one of them, chain 2, and then in the same space put in 4 more, and then move our way down so you have these spaces, and then we're going to do another corner. So we're going to convert this circle into a square next. So let's begin to do that. Okay, so let's begin. I'm just going to use an off-white color here, and I'm going to insert my hook into the yarn, and I'm just going to separate these popcorns so that I can get in between a space of those. That's where we're going to be playing. Okay, so we're not playing in the tops of these popcorns, we're playing in the spaces in between, and just insert into any one in between, and then just attach it with a slip stitch. And now we're going to chain a total of 3. So 1, 2, 3, and that counts as a double crochet, and I want you to double crochet 3 more times into that same space. We're creating the first half of one corner. Okay, so every corner is made up of 4 double crochets first, so the chain 3 counts as one of them, so you got your 4, and then chain 2 to turn the corner, and then coming back into the same space, I want you to put in 4 more double crochets. I am just going to drop off that loose end. I've already buried it enough, and it's kind of getting in my way. I've been doing a lot of crocheting lately with a lot of loose ends, so I've kind of gotten used to manipulating that to get those out of the way. So each corner is made up of 4 double crochets, chain 2, and 4 double crochets. So there's going to be no chaining at all, but into the next space, okay, so just separate the popcorn between each other. The next one, you're going to put in a single crochet and then chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, jump over the popcorn and go into the next chain 1 space and single crochet, then chain 3, jump over the next popcorn, go into the next chain space, and now we're going to create the next corner. Okay, so do you see that there? I'm kind of holding there for you. So the next one is going to be an actual corner, so there's going to be 4 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, followed by chain 2 to turn the corner, and then into the same space I want you to put in a total of 4 more double crochets to turn the corner. I'm going to review an edge one more time. Okay, so there's your corner. So remember what we're going to do. We're going to separate the popcorn out, go into the next one after this one, single crochet, chain 3, separate the next popcorn space out, single crochet, chain 3, separate the next space out. See, so you have 3 of them in a row. So 1, 2, 3. There's chain 3 spaces that separate them, and now the corner begins again. So I want you to do the same idea, going all the way around, complete all the way around, and I'll see you at the end of this round, and we'll carry on. We just got 2 more rounds after this. So remember, corners are 4 double crochets, chain 2, and 4 into the same space. So I'll be right back at the end of this round and we'll carry on from that point. So as you're coming up around the final side, you're just going to carry on what you already know. Remember that the final corner has already been done for you. So chaining 3, then coming into the space. And this is the last space that you're going to fill in with the single crochet, and you just insert your hook into the top of the first chain 3 and bring it to conclusion with a slip stitch like this. So now your complete pops are now framed inside another color. So let's begin our next round number 4. So this is 2 more rounds to go, which is 4. So you're just going to slip your stitch yourself across the stitch work until you get to the next corner. So just go right into the top of the stitches and slip. And slip right into that chain 2 space, and then we're ready to begin once again. So to do this one here, this is a standard granny square, but instead of 3 double crochets in each space, it's 4. So you're going to chain up 4, and that's, or sorry, chain up 3, which counts as a double crochet, and then in the space you're going to put 3 more double crochets in. So with the chain 3 and the 3 double crochets, that gives you the magical number of 4 once again. Once the 4 is in, you're going to chain 2, and coming into the same space, you're going to put in another 4. Now if you're used to grannies always putting in 3, I found myself kind of struggling a little bit in the very beginning to make sure I did 4, because you automatically always want to do 3. So once you have that done, chain 1, and then just come to the next space, which is right here. Okay, so it's this chain 3 space right here. Just jump on over and just put in 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then chain 1, and then jump into the next space right here. Okay, and put in 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then chain 1, and now the next one is in a corner. So in the corners, remember, it's always going to be 4 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, followed by chain 2 and 4 more double crochets into that same space. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then keep on going. So turn, chain 1, and then 3 double crochets in this space here, 3 double crochet, and then 4 double crochets in that space there, chain 1, 4 into this one, chain 1, and then you're back on a corner. So please do the remaining of this round, and I'll see you at the end of this round, and we'll just carry on and we'll do our final round together. When you get all the way back around, you get your group of 4 in. Make sure you chain 1 first and then attach it to the top of the first chain 3 that you'd started with. So we just have one more round to do, and now we're just going to slip stitch ourselves to a corner first. So just moving across, just slip until you get to the first chain 2 space, which is the corner. So we're right in the corner, and then we begin again. So right now you're going to play in the spaces, and the first one kind of looks a little awkward right there, but that's not a big deal. It will settle itself out. You can go as big as you want to at this particular point in the project. So you're going to chain a total of 3, which gives you a double crochet, and then 3 more double crochets in order to give you that balance of 4. And then every corner is always going to be the same. Chain 2, and then 4 more back into the same one. So the magic number on this one is really 4. So after you get that done, chain 1, and then just skip to this chain 1 space, the next one right here, and put in 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then chain 1, and then go into the next one. So this one right here, it's the space in between them, and put in 4. So once you get to this round, all of the spacing will look the same. So you can go as big as you need to from this particular point. So the bigger you do squares, make sure you chain 1 after you do that. And so the bigger you do the squares, the less squares you need to make on a project. It does change your yarn counts a little bit as well. So, but you know what, I would rather have bigger squares than lots of little squares. That's just my own personal preference. So I chained 1 after I did this 4, again another corner, so it's 4 double crochet, followed by chain 2 to turn, and then to turn the project, and 4 more into the same one. So what I'll do is that you can do the rest of this on your own, and then I'll meet you at the end of this round, and then that's it. So these are all these squares are, and then you can sew them together and then apply your double crochet borders. We have a tutorials for that on the Crochet Crowd YouTube channel. Just look up borders double crochet and that'll come up, and there's, I believe, 6 rounds of that. So remember, you chain 1 after you do the corner, come into the first space, 4 double crochet, followed by a chain 1, come into the next space here, 4 double crochet, and then chain 1 and then 4 double crochet into the next one, and keep doing that same patterning going all the way around, and you will have a perfect granny square to go, just like that. So once everything is sewn together, you'll see that it will lay out really quite beautifully as well. So please do that all the way around, and I'll see you at the end of this project in order to finalize off. So as I'm coming around here at the very final one here, I'm getting my 4 in. Don't forget I have to chain 1 before attaching it then with the slip stitch to the top of the first chain 3 that I started with. So if you want to go continually more around, you just slip stitch to the corner again. I meant chain 3 more double crochets in, chain 2, and then double crochet 4, and then just move around again. Each one gets 4 double crochets with the chain 1 in between them. Corners again, 4 double crochets, chain 2, 4 double crochet. So if you want to really get rid of these loose end, what you can just do, I'll just demonstrate it real quick, is that you put this onto a darning needle, and if you put your yarn through the project 3 times, it'll never fall out. So going in the direction from which you came, just underneath the stitch work so you don't impede on the edge, just drag it through, okay? And don't reef on it so that you make it not form properly, and then go back the other way through a different path but similar area, so for 2, and then back again through a different path in the other direction for a 3rd time. And what that will do is that your project strand will never fall out because it's been in there. So you can do that with all of the particular yarn strands if you had them when you went to go start. I buried this one as I went, so I'm okay with just getting rid of that right out of there, and that's all it is. So this is the Petal Pop square, and this is a really kind of a neat idea. It's just really quite simple. I have a loose strand right here that I can just deal with in just a moment or two. You know, you got to look at these things really kind of objectively. So here's the yarn strand. It's just popping out a little bit, but because there's such a color difference, it's quite noticeable for me. So now I can just, yep, see it's all gone. So this is a neat idea. So this is the Petal Pops Afghan. I think it's a really cool idea, and you can have some fun, whether it's 3-dimensional, just like you saw here. Okay, this is using Caron 1 Pound here, or you can do it flat by using a cluster work. Either way, it's still the same instructions after you're finishing it, and that's all there is to it. So I used a Caron Simply Soft just for this one, and you can see the difference. I used the same size hook that was recommended, and you can see the thickness of the yarn changed the size of the square. So until next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of Yarn Inspirations as well as the crochetcrowd.com. We'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.